Almost every corner you turn, you're bound to find a McDonald's. You know the healthier option would probably just be to go home and cook. But the convenience to just grab the food from McDonald's is much more tempting. We've heard it all our lives that junk food isn't good for you and that you should steer clear from it. Yet, why do we go back to it? The bottom line is that the cons outweigh the pros. My name is Crystal Baez, and I want you to understand and truly believe that in the long run, junk food can be detrimental to your health. So what really is junk food? In defining junk food, it refers to foods that are high in calories but have very little nutritional value to them. When we ask people what junk food is, we think about foods like cookies, pizza, and high sugary drinks. It depends on who you ask though, because some people might say that pizza is a junk food while others say it's not. It has vegetables on top with a tomato sauce and cheese, and it has your protein, which is the pepperoni, and a crust of bread. This would actually not be considered a junk food since it is high in nutritional value. According to Dr. Elaine Mackey, junk foods are ones that have a low satiation value, which just means that the food doesn't make you feel full when you eat them. So now that we know what junk food is, let's get into why it's bad for you. So why is junk food bad for you? Well, according to the Department of Health for Western Australia, eating junk food on a regular basis can actually lead to an increased risk of obesity and chronic diseases. So being that junk food has such a low satiation value, it becomes very easy to overeat it, which leads to weight gain. Because remember, if it has a low satiation value, it means you don't really get full from it. So the Healthline states that a review of 32 studies found that every serving of sugar-sweetened beverage consumed by people, they gained between 0.25 to 0.5 pounds over 1 year. Heart disease is the leading cause of death worldwide. Many of these junk foods are extremely high in sugar. Take your sodas, which can lead to many issues like heart disease. The content of processed sugar and high fat content causes arteries to become clogged and allow you to be at a higher risk for a heart attack. So regularly eating fast food has also been found to increase triglycerides and reduce HDL, which is actually the good cholesterol in your body, which then leads to heart disease. According to Phil Maffetone, fast food contains a high amount of folic acid, and some governments have actually stopped producing these foods due to an increased cancer rates from the high intake of folic acids. So eating these junk foods also makes you more at a risk for type 2 diabetes. Christy Brissett found a review of studies on fast food and heart health that having fast food more than twice a week was associated with a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. This is disturbing considering the fact that nearly half of Americans eat fast food at least once a week. So you should ask yourself, am I eating out too much? Should I be going out to fast food restaurants, or should I make something at home instead? Well, the answer is obvious. You should probably make something at home instead. These diseases are not the only thing that you should be worried about though. We also need to take into account how eating these foods can actually alter your brain activity. So why do we crave junk foods? We crave these foods because obviously one, they taste good and they're just widely available. You can easily hop in your car, pull up to the drive-thru and get your food. It's as easy as that. Most Americans today would just much rather get their food that they don't have to cook, since we live in such a fast-paced lifestyle nowadays and we're always on the go. According to Stephen Witherly, he found that we crave junk food for 2 reasons. First, there's the sensation of eating the food. This includes what it tastes like, what it smells like, and how it feels in your mouth. The oral sensation is important because the purpose of it is to satisfy you, the consumer, when it comes to food. It's like eating that burger or eating those cookies. It just tastes so good in your mouth that you just want more of it. Food companies will actually spend millions of dollars to discover the most satisfying crunch in a single potato chip, or the perfect amount of fizzle in a soda can. All of this combined creates the sensation your brain associates with a particular food or drink. Just like everyone knows what a Pepsi tastes like and everyone knows what a Coca-Cola tastes like. We're so familiar with it because it has that sensation that is triggered in our brain to know exactly what it is. The second factor is actually the macronutrient makeup of the food, the blend of the protein, the fats, the carbohydrates. Food companies search for the perfect amount of salt and sugar that excites your brain and keeps you coming back for more. We are not doomed by any means by eating these foods, but I can show you some ways to choose healthier options. So there are always healthier alternatives to junk foods to consider. So we don't necessarily need to never eat junk food. We can try to limit these foods to once a week and stick to the serving size of the bag. So if the bag says only eat 12 potato chips, you should probably only eat 12 potato chips. One way to track how much you eat is by using a food scale. Using a food scale can actually ensure you that you eat the recommended serving. You should always, though, limit the amount of junk food you eat. So you want to set a day during the week where you can have a small amount of junk food, which is called your cheat day. In doing this, you can still eat the foods you want, but without getting the negative side effects of eating too much junk food. Another option you can do is just eat healthier snacks when you get the urge to eat junky food. So fruits such as apples, bananas, oranges, and berries, they're still sweet foods that are palatable to curb your sweet tooth. Instead of buying regular white bread, you could buy whole grain. As far as dairy products go, you should choose Greek yogurt over your standard strawberry yogurt. The reason being is because Greek yogurt has 3 times the amount of protein and usually has a lower sugar content. So the best way to stop eating junk food is just to leave it on the shelf. If you don't buy it, you won't eat it. Now that we understand what junk food really is and the negative side effects it can have on your health, it's never too late to just start a healthy relationship with food. Understand your limits and know when your body is communicating with you. The food companies will do everything in their power to try to lure you in their trap. But remember to always put your health first. If you want to live a long and healthy life, you have to either A, cut out these foods completely, or B, just limit yourself to once a day or once a week. No one wants to live a life where they have to worry about heart diseases or diabetes. So do yourself a favor and fuel your body with nutritional foods, and I promise you, you won't regret it in the long run.